5 centuries ago, Machiavelli studied powerful women within European royal courts and witnessed a dangerous truth. What he discovered was so sensitive that he could not speak about it openly, revealing it could have led to his downfall. Today, I will analyze 9 precise strategies that will give you an irresistible presence without begging, chasing, or sacrificing your self-respect. While most men beg for attention like lost puppies, you will become the kind of man women genuinely crave. The 9th technique in particular is a decisive secret weapon that changes everything, but it only works if you first master the previous 8. Focus closely because this will permanently change the way you approach attraction. First, project confidence through abundance. One of the most common mistakes men make is behaving as if their attention is a scarce resource, or as if one woman is their only opportunity. This mindset slowly kills attraction without you even realizing it. The key is to live as if you have options. This does not mean lying or playing games. It means changing how you see yourself. True confidence comes from feeling complete without her or anyone else's validation. When you internalize this, strength and certainty naturally show through your actions. Women do not judge men by words alone. They are far more sensitive to behavior, especially how a man responds under subtle pressure. Do you appear relaxed or anxious, confident or starved for affection? A desperate or overly available man appears weak, while a man who carries calm abundance communicates power. Her subconscious is constantly evaluating, if this man is investing so much attention in me, why aren't other women chasing him? If no one else wants him, what am I missing? This mirrors how people instinctively judge value items that are everywhere feel cheap, while those others compete for seem valuable. So how do you display abundance without being cold or dismissive? First, protect your schedule. In the early stages of dating, do not cancel important plans for someone. If you have workouts, work projects, or commitments with friends, keep them. Politely offer an alternative instead. Saying, "I already have plans that day, but Thursday evening works," signals that your life is full and purposeful. Second, regulate communication naturally. Let go of the compulsion to reply instantly to every message. This is not a manipulation tactic. It should be, because your life is genuinely busy. When you do reply, be present, kind, and engaged, but never apologize for living your life. Constantly saying sorry signals insecurity, not confidence. Third, pace emotional disclosure. Sharing everything too early creates pressure rather than connection. Mystery sparks curiosity, and trust should be built gradually. Finally, understand that abundance is not arrogance. A man with real options does not need to brag or compete for attention. He invests in himself, his growth, and his purpose. That quiet confidence rooted in independence is what creates attraction. Second, value her, but never idolize her. There is a subtle yet critical difference between respecting a woman and worshipping her. Most men fail here, and the moment they confuse the two, attraction disappears. Valuing her means treating her as a full human being, listening, showing interest, respecting her time, and considering her perspective. Idolizing her means placing her above you, acting as if she has no flaws, and tolerating behavior you would never accept from anyone else. It's the mindset of, because I like you, I'll let everything slide. This is dangerous. Machiavelli said, "He who becomes a sheep will be eaten by wolves." There is no truer statement in male-female dynamics. Men who worship women remove all tension from the relationship. Without tension, there is no challenge, no curiosity, no spark. Women are instinctively less attracted to men who place them on a pedestal because the relationship becomes predictable and dull. Consider a real example. She arrives late to a date without notice. The man who idolizes her says, "It's okay, don't worry." The man who respects her says, "I value my time. Next time, let me know if you'll be late." Do you feel the difference? One man silently begs for approval. The other communicates clearly while protecting his self-respect. Women may not consciously analyze this, but their brains register it immediately. Boundaries and self-respect signal strength, confidence, and stability, deeply attractive traits. Valuing her also means expressing your perspective honestly. A man who never disagrees and always says yes appears weak and uninteresting. Women want partners with independent thinking men who can express their stance without creating drama. Compliment more than just her appearance. Acknowledge her intelligence, decisiveness, or how she handles challenges. Saying, "The way you handled that situation was impressive," carries far more weight than a hollow, "You're beautiful." Genuine recognition shows you see her depth, not just her surface. Respect does not mean tolerating disrespect. If she crosses a line, address it calmly. "That behavior doesn't sit right with me. Let's find a better way." If she refuses to adjust, you must reconsider how much time and energy you invest. Women respond not to endless forgiveness, but to consistent standards. Do not idolize, value her. Maintain high standards, protect your boundaries, and show unshakable confidence. A man who masters this becomes naturally attractive, representing strength, independence, and purpose that women find irresistible. Third, the power of an unpredictable presence. Many men misunderstand what unpredictability means. They confuse it with moodiness or instability, believing they must behave erratically to keep interest. But there is a vast difference between attractive unpredictability and emotional instability. Emotional instability is harmful. It creates anxiety, tension, and destroys attraction. Overreacting, being emotionally volatile, or changing moods without reason are red flags. Women detect at a deep unconscious level. True unpredictability, on the other hand, is captivating. It is subtle, natural, and intriguing. When someone cannot fully predict your next move, curiosity is triggered. The human brain is wired to pay attention to novelty and contrast. Predictability quickly becomes familiar, familiarity becomes boredom, and boredom kills desire. By introducing natural variation in your actions and energy, you maintain tension and sustain attraction. Biologically, unpredictability stimulates dopamine, the chemical responsible for pleasure, motivation, and focus. When someone is completely predictable, dopamine stops firing and their presence fades into background noise. This does not mean acting fake or manipulative. It reflects a dynamic, full, authentic life. A man with a rich, purpose-driven life naturally becomes unpredictable. One day he is deeply focused and serious about his goals. The next he is playful, light, and spontaneous. These shifts feel genuine because they come from engagement with life, not from trying to control someone else. The essence of this trait is balance, remaining reliable and trustworthy while still engaging and interesting. This balance creates freshness, anticipation, and curiosity. Unpredictability is one of the strongest forms of attraction because it communicates vitality, independence, and presence without words. A man who embodies this energy naturally draws others in simply by fully living. Fourth, put your life before her. There is an uncomfortable truth few acknowledge. Pouring all your attention, energy, and focus into a woman does not make her love you more. Society, movies, and dating advice have promoted this myth for decades. Reality is the opposite. The moment a man places a woman at the center of his universe, he sacrifices the very traits that create attraction. Desire thrives when a man has depth, direction, and independence. Women are drawn to men who live with purpose and self-control, not men who are emotionally dependent. Most women do not want the burden of being responsible for someone else's happiness. What they instinctively crave is a man who already has structure, goals, and momentum. When a man ties his identity and self-worth to a woman, he communicates lack and weakness. Emotional dependence kills desire before it can grow. When a man's confidence and happiness hinge on another person, subconscious alarms activate. Predictability, emotional neediness, and loss of autonomy reduce attraction. Desire is rooted in biology. It responds to strength, independence, and self-sufficiency. Dependency weakens the natural chemistry that draws people together. A man pursuing his mission, vision, or personal goals is inherently attractive. purpose fuels focus, energy, and presence. It communicates capability and self-respect without saying a word. A meaningful life does not require external validation. A life driven by ambition, curiosity, challenge, and growth naturally projects value. In contrast, a life centered on approval-seeking and attention appears empty and draining. Scattered dependent energy kills attraction. Focused, independent energy amplifies it. True attraction is not about giving someone everything they want. It emerges when you embody wholeness, independence, purpose, and authenticity. A man leading a meaningful life displays strength without arrogance and invites connection rather than chasing it. Women are drawn to vitality, motion, and meaning. They want to join a living life, not carry someone else's incompleteness. Putting something above women is not a strategy, it is reality. It reflects self-worth, growth, and standing firmly on your own. A full, purpose-driven life does not chase attention, it commands it. Fifth, emotional independence as the foundation of attraction. One of the most overlooked aspects of true attraction is the ability to remain calm and whole, even if a woman decides to leave. Many men mistake this for coldness or manipulation. It is neither. It is emotional resilience and self-reliance. True strength comes from inner stability, the understanding that your life does not depend on another person's presence. Being able to walk away calmly is not about threats or drama. It reflects peace, confidence, and self-respect that exist independently of romance. When a man fears rejection or loss, that fear subtly controls his tone, behavior, and energy. Women sense this instinctively. Desperation repels, stability attracts. A man who can separate gracefully demonstrates boundaries, self-worth, and unshakable confidence. He does not seek validation or tie his happiness to someone else. This does not mean emotional numbness. It means regulating emotions and protecting your energy. It reflects understanding that no one person can complete your life. Independence signals value. People are drawn to those who are already whole. Attraction does not come from chasing, pleading, or controlling. It comes from building a strong, complete identity in life that remains steady regardless of who stays or leaves. Sixth, complete emotional independence, the core of irresistible presence. One of the most overlooked yet powerful traits of genuine attraction is emotional independence. This is the ability to remain calm, grounded, and whole, even when a woman pulls away, loses interest, or chooses to leave. Many men misunderstand this concept, confusing it with arrogance, emotional coldness, or manipulation. In reality, it is none of those. Emotional independence is inner stability. True strength comes from knowing that your peace, identity, and self-worth do not depend on another person's presence. When a man can step back without panic, without drama, and without trying to control the outcome, he communicates something extremely powerful. I am complete on my own. Most men fear loss more than they realize. That fear subtly leaks into their behavior, their tone, their words, their reactions. They become cautious, overly accommodating, or desperate to fix everything immediately. Women instinctively sense this. Fear creates pressure. Pressure destroys attraction. Emotional independence removes that pressure entirely. A man who is not afraid to lose does not cling. He does not plead. He does not negotiate his value. He stands firm, calm, and self-contained. This signals confidence, resilience, and high self-worth, qualities that naturally draw respect and desire. This does not mean emotional detachment or indifference. An emotionally independent man can care deeply, invest fully, and love sincerely. The difference is that he does not lose himself in the process. His emotions are regulated, not reactive. His identity remains intact. When conflict arises or distance appears, he does not rush to restore harmony at the cost of his dignity. He allows space. He allows silence. He trusts his stability. This creates a powerful contrast. Instead of chasing, he becomes grounded. Instead of collapsing, he remains steady. Women unconsciously compare emotional dependence and emotional autonomy. Dependence communicates lack, uncertainty, and need. Autonomy communicates abundance, strength, and safety. The latter activates attraction at a primal level. A man who can walk away with grace without bitterness or resentment demonstrates boundaries and self-respect. He does not seek validation. He does not outsource his happiness. This independence is not cold, it is calm. And calm is magnetic. Ultimately, emotional independence is not a tactic, it is a state of being. It is the natural result of self-mastery, inner balance, and a life that stands strong on its own. When a man embodies this, attraction follows effortlessly, not because he tries to pull others in, but because his presence speaks for itself. Seventh, master the art of strategic energy allocation. One of the most effective ways to maintain attraction and influence in any relationship is by managing how and where you invest your energy. The way you offer attention, warmth, and presence silently communicates your value and priorities. However, not everyone deserves the same level of emotional investment. When a man gives equal energy to everyone, his presence becomes predictable and cheap. His attention loses weight. His warmth becomes expected. Scarcity disappears, and with it, attraction. Strategic energy allocation is not manipulation, it is balance. It reflects self-respect, emotional intelligence, and clear personal boundaries. Your time, attention, and emotional availability are limited resources. When you treat them as such, others instinctively perceive their value. When you give warmth generously to those who respect you, support your boundaries, and contribute positively to your life, connection deepens, appreciation grows, mutual investment emerges naturally. Energy given intentionally feels rare, and rarity creates attraction. In contrast, indiscriminately offering emotional availability to those who create chaos, disrespect boundaries, or drain stability sends a damaging message. It teaches others that your energy is free, unlimited, and undeserved of respect. Over time, this erodes both attraction and self-worth. People are highly sensitive, often unconsciously, to patterns of energy distribution. They notice who receives access to your attention and who does not. Selectivity signals confidence, self-awareness, and inner strength. It communicates that your presence must be earned, not assumed. This principle is not about punishing or withholding affection. It is about alignment. It ensures that your emotional investment matches the quality of connection. When energy is given deliberately, it creates respect rather than entitlement. Selective energy also reinforces boundaries without confrontation, without arguments or explanations. It clarifies what behavior is rewarded and what is not. Those who value you move closer. Those who do not drift away naturally. A man who masters this skill does not need to demand respect. His behavior enforces it. His presence carries weight because it is intentional, focused, and controlled. Ultimately, attraction thrives where energy is valued. When your warmth is earned rather than guaranteed, your presence becomes magnetic. Not because you try to control others, but because you control yourself. This may sound shocking, but everything you have learned about women from society, movies, and even well-meaning advice may be wrong. Forget the fantasies you were taught. Real attraction is rooted in self-respect, boundaries, purpose, and emotional strength. Master your mind and the rest of life aligns naturally. One of the harshest truths most men avoid is this: women do not respond to what you say you deserve. They respond to what you consistently tolerate. Your standards, not your effort, kindness, or intentions, define your value. Many men believe attraction is built by giving more, understanding more, forgiving more. In reality, excessive tolerance signals low self-worth. When you accept disrespect, inconsistency, or emotional chaos, you teach others how to treat you. No amount of affection can override that lesson. Standards are not about control or arrogance. They are about clarity. They communicate what behavior is acceptable in your life and what is not. A man without standards becomes predictable, easy, and expendable. When anything is allowed, nothing feels valuable. Brutal reality: attraction does not grow where boundaries are weak. It fades. Women may stay, but desire erodes. Respect disappears quietly long before the relationship ends. A man with clear standards does not argue endlessly or explain himself into exhaustion. He observes behavior, makes decisions, and adjusts his investment accordingly. If actions align with his values, he engages. If they do not, he withdraws calmly, without anger or resentment. This selectivity is powerful because it shifts the dynamic. Instead of trying to be chosen, he becomes the one who chooses. That reversal triggers respect at a deep psychological level. Another uncomfortable truth being understanding at the cost of self-respect is not noble, it is self-abandonment. Women do not feel safe or attracted to men who betray themselves to keep connection. Stability comes from consistency, not accommodation. High standards naturally create scarcity. Not everyone qualifies for access to your time, attention, or emotional availability. Scarcity increases value not artificially, but biologically. The human mind assigns greater importance to what is not freely given. When a man enforces standards, some people will walk away. That is not failure, that is filtration. Attraction is not about being liked by everyone, it is about being respected by the right people. A woman who senses that your presence must be earned feels tension, challenge, and curiosity. She becomes more aware of her behavior, more intentional with her investment. Respect precedes desire, and standards create respect. This is not about being harsh or unkind. It is about being rooted. Calm firmness is far more intimidating than anger. Silence backed by self-respect speaks louder than confrontation. In the end, your standards reveal your self-image. When you refuse to accept less than what aligns with your values, the world adjusts or removes itself. That is power. And power, grounded in reality, is deeply attractive. Here is the most uncomfortable truth of all, the one almost no man is prepared to face. The moment attraction becomes your goal, you lose it. This is not philosophy. This is not opinion. This is psychological law. Most men approach women with a hidden agenda to be desired, chosen, validated, or accepted. Even when they act confident, even when they follow rules, that underlying need leaks through their behavior. Tone, time, energy, body language, decision-making. All of it is quietly shaped by one question: will this make her like me more? That question is poison, because attraction does not respond to need, it responds to self-direction. Here is the brutal reality most dating advice avoids. Women do not fall for men who are trying to attract them. They fall for men who are busy becoming something, and invite others into that orbit. When attraction is your mission, you are already beneath it. The power shift most men never make. There is a psychological difference between how do I make her want me and does this person belong in my life? The first frames you as a seeker, the second frames you as a selector. That single shift changes everything. Men who are attractive are not obsessed with being chosen. They are evaluating alignment. They are not auditioning. They are observing. They are not performing masculinity. They are enforcing reality. This is why techniques stop working long-term. You can fake confidence for a moment. You can fake detachment for a while, but you cannot fake self-authority. Women are not reacting to what you do. They are reacting to who is in control of your life. Every meaningful interaction contains tests, not conscious, not malicious, instinctive. Will this man abandon himself for approval? Will he bend his standards under pressure? Will he collapse emotionally if I pull back? Will he lose direction if I become the center? Most men fail silently. They over-explain. They over-justify. They over-justify. They over-invest. They over-tolerate. Not because they are bad men, but because they are afraid to lose access. Here is the truth no one tells you clearly. The fastest way to lose attraction is to prove you need it. When a man subtly rearranges his values, boundaries, time, or identity to preserve a woman's interest, her nervous system registers danger, not comfort, not because she is cruel, Because dependency signals instability. Desire requires friction with reality. Desire is not built in safety, it is built in contrast. Contrast between your life and hers, your mission and the relationship, your values and her expectations. Men who erase contrast to keep peace destroy desire. When you always agree, always accommodate, always smooth tension, you remove polarity. Without polarity, desire dies. Strong men are not conflict seekers, but they are not conflict avoiders either. They allow friction without panic. They allow disagreement without collapse. They allow distance without chasing. This communicates something primal. I am not here to be absorbed. I am here to live. The most shocking truth: attraction is not about her at all. This is where most men mentally short-circuit. Attraction has almost nothing to do with the woman in front of you. It is the byproduct of how you relate to pressure, how you relate to uncertainty, how you relate to yourself when no one is watching. A man who is deeply rooted in his own direction becomes attractive without effort. Why? Because his behavior is no longer reactive. He doesn't escalate to get validation. He doesn't withdraw to punish. He doesn't perform to impress. He acts from alignment, and alignment is rare. Why most men stay invisible? Most men are externally oriented. They ask, what should I say? What should I do? What does she want? Attractive men ask, is this aligned with who I am? Does this support my direction? Is this worth my energy? This internal orientation creates gravity. People feel it. Women feel it immediately, because someone who does not need permission is dangerous, in the best way. The end of chasing is the beginning of power. Here is the final brutal truth. You cannot chase and be respected at the same time. You cannot beg and be desired at the same time. You cannot negotiate attraction. The moment you stop chasing, three things happen. You regain clarity. You regain emotional control. You regain leverage. Without trying, this does not guarantee someone will stay, but it guarantees something far more important. You will never abandon yourself to keep someone. And that is the line women sense immediately. Masculine presence is not loud. It is unmoved. True masculine presence is calm. It does not rush to fix. It does not rush to explain. It does not rush to explain. It does not rush to secure outcomes. It allows things to reveal themselves. A man who can sit in uncertainty without scrambling is rare, and rarity creates value. This is why silence, when grounded, is powerful. This is why walking away without resentment is powerful. This is why saying no without anger is powerful, not because of strategy, because it reflects inner order. If you want attraction, build a life that does not revolve around being chosen. Develop standards you are willing to enforce. Stop outsourcing your worth to reactions. Let people lose access when they fail alignment. Accept loss as filtration, not failure. When your identity is no longer on the table, people feel safe and intrigued. The men who get the most attention are the men who do not need it. The men who inspire desire are the men who do not chase it. The men who are respected are the men who would rather walk alone than betray themselves. This is not a dating strategy. This is a life orientation. And once you adopt it, attraction stops being something you pursue and becomes something that follows.